Hello everyone, and welcome back to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. This is round 5 at Wall Stadium, New Jersey, made by Joka Design, Jonathan Simpson. My name is Craig. With me as always is Tanner. What's up, dude?
What is happening, Craig? You know, I hope a lot of those who are watching right now, they were here for qualifying, because what a qualifying it was. An insane, what was it, a 91.7 to get into qualifying today? A 97-point run by Ethan? It was just bonkers of a qualifying session. Not only that, but now because of qualifying, our championship fight has reduced down to 3 points separating 4 drivers. It's the competition today is just going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, it really is amazing to see it as well. Really just one more round to go after this one, and the points are so close in this condensed season, making each and every single round that much more important. And yeah, the standings show so freaking close. We'll take a look at today's bracket as well. Look at there, Ethan with his 97-point run earlier, qualifying first. He'll go up against Nick Hang. And to round out our first group of top 32, Ryan Literal and Victor Lacheres, Maxime Tengai and Abdulaziz Al-Harbi, Robert Kavinsky, and Artem Chokov. For our first group, we'll go back to the line map as well. We took a look at it in qualifying. We'll take a look at it now. In the beginning of the run, down at the bottom of your screen and into your first decel zone, but judges want to see those drivers put their cars up in that famous pocket along the bank and ride the wall all the way around and come down smoothly. Walk that car down into your first inside clip at clip 2, and then into your next decel zone for clip 3. Big outside zone at the bottom of the bank there, and then driving off of it into your next inside clip for clip 4. Snappy transition back to your last and final outside zone there at clip 5 with a small decel zone. But again, judges don't want to see drivers really parking their cars there. They want to see them using angle and throttle to change that direction of the car and drive back down into clip 6, your last and final inside clip, and then finishing along the outside. But it looks like we have our first set of drivers up at the line ready to go.
Well, we did have our drivers at the line ready to go, but now something interesting has happened at the line where Ethan, our number 1 qualifier, has vanished into the Shadow Realm. I'm hoping he is reconnecting as we speak, as I noticed he had a disconnect a little earlier. Not too sure what's going on with that. Nick Hang is at the line and ready to go, so I hope this doesn't end up being an upset right off the gate here.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing over on Discord with the judges and race control that he's going to take a 5-minute timeout. So I think we're going to move along to our next battle. Ryan Literal and Victor Lacheris, our number 16th qualifier and number 17th qualifier.
All right. Well, a good way to start us off, aside from the 5-minute timeout, but these two will put on a show from us. In your lead lane, that's up at the top of your screen by that guardrail, that is FD owns Ryan Literal in that Power Stop S15. And beside him is Victor Lacheris in his Asuko S15 as they come into initiation for the first battle here of round 5, and a hit there from the chase car as they come around that bank. They transition down to that inside clip, now into outside zone 2. Ryan Literal on a good line here, but Victor Lacheris trying to apply that pressure, leaving room for that transition. A little too inside was that chase driver, taking out those pylons as Ryan keeps that car steady, but right beside him on the door was Victor Lacheris that whole time.
Wow. Let's take another look at it here. Ryan Literal out front, throwing that Power Stop S15 to the top of the bank, and there's the little nudge from Victor Lacheris in that chase position. They keep things going anyway. Nice transition into outside zone 2 from Ryan Literal. Leaves the outside just a little bit, works it back out there, and then down to the inside cliff. And as you pointed out, Victor Lacheris a little bit too far on the inside here as well, but that proximity right there with him, and there they go across that finish line.
Well, back around at the start line now, we have Victor Lacheris at the top with a restart happening. We're just going to let them line back up as Victor getting a little greedy with those lights. Gotta wait for them to go fully on as we start the second half of this battle now. The light goes on, and Victor gets a good start this time. Ryan Literal following right behind him as they come into outer zone 1. Good initiation from that lead driver. Ryan Literal not as close as Victor, but hanging back just a little bit, leaving room for the transition as they come down into outer zone 2. Ryan Literal starting to put on that pressure now as they come through outer zone 2. A little bobble from that chase driver, but Victor on a very good lead run as the chase does cut that same line that Victor did on his last run, coming through that inside clip. The proximity is lost a little bit there from Ryan Literal to Victor.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here. Again, Victor Lacheris out front this time. A little bit of a slow start, but Ryan does a good job in that chase position to settle in behind him, sacrificing a little bit of angle there to try and reel Victor back in. Victor on a good line here, settles in right to that white line that we can barely see now. Pulls a little bit of angle out there and pulls away from Ryan. Good line from the lead here as well, down to that inside clip. Ryan a little bit to the outside, but a tough battle between these two. We'll go to the judges for the first time today. Ryan Literal on the left, Victor Lacheris on the right, or could we see him line up again? But no, it's going to be Ryan Literal gets the win here in top 32 and moves on against Victor Lacheris.
Oh, good jump there from Ryan Literal to make his way in, take the first of the top 16 spots. And now what was supposed to be our first battle is back at the line after the 5-minute timeout rule was called. At the top there in that beautiful Nissan Z is Ethan, as we like to call him, Pikachu, in that beautiful Valino at Nissan Z. Below him, Nick Hang. Nick Hang in that S14 initiating in is Ethan. Good initiation. Nick Hang right there with him though, as he's way up high on that bank. He drops it down, but Nick Hang isn't giving him any breathing room in that chase position. Almost transitioning along the bumper and now on his door through outer zone 2. Ethan doing what he needs to do out front here as they come through that inside clip and transition for the final outer clip. And look at that, almost on the door as Nick Hang tries to scooch up and get right on his door as they cross that finish line.
Wow, applying the pressure. Let's take another look at it here. Again, this was supposed to be our first battle. Ethan qualifying first, and look at this lead run, near perfect again out front, but opening the door for Nick Hang, and he takes advantage. Again, look at there, settling perfectly into outside zone 2, keeps things going, locked in on the angle, but Nick Hang is right there along that bumper through the transition, filling that next outside zone, staying with him, and almost passing him across that finish line.
Yeah, now we're back around at the start line with Nick Hang in that lead position, with Ethan ready to chase him down. And, you know, we say it's the number 1 driver against the number 32 driver, but these guys are driving like they're both number 1 qualifiers. They initiate in and come onto that bank. Nice and high up on the bank is Nick Hang. Right behind him is the chase driver of Ethan, transitioning a little late, but making it work as he tries to get on the door. Nick Hang pacing away from him as they come through that inside clip. Now transitioning to the final outer zone. A surge there from chase driver of Ethan, trying to get back up on the door and have that same proximity, but Nick Hang just sits out there a little farther.
Yeah, interesting. We'll take another look at it here. Nick Hang out front this time, throwing that S14 very high up on the bank. Works into the angle as well. Ethan falling back just a little bit there, but right back onto the bumper for the next transition, but then sacrificing quite a bit of line, and then starts to fall back right there along the bumper. And then here, tons of angle from Nick, goes a little bit far out to the outside, and then drives back in. We'll wait on the judges. Tough call to make here in the top 32. But did the number 1 qualifier just get taken down?
Well, and as I was going to say there, even though we say the number 1 and the number 32, in this case, this number 1 qualifier with a 97-point run, the number 32 with a 91.7. I mean,
exactly.
It's not a lot of difference.
And look at there. So yeah, split call one more time. Chris and Carl choose a one more time. Matt goes with Ethan. But we're going to line them back up anyway.
And a good thing to do so, because I want to see these two go at it again. And as I was, again, to put on my point there, just how, even though one got a 91.7, they are both, everyone's at that skill level where a 91.7 and a 97, yes, they're, you know, I give tons of credit for that 97, but what an insane battles these are going to be throughout the day because everyone's so close. So here we are for the one more time. Ethan in the Nissan Z in your lead lane, Nick Hang in that S chassis, ready to chase him down once again. Initiating in is Ethan, nice and high up on the bank. A little bit more distance this time from Nick Hang around that bank as they drop down to transition through the inside clip along the bumper into outer zone 2. Nick Hang starting to get there and put that pressure on, grabbing that door of Ethan in the lead as they come through that inside clip. A little far inside from that chase driver though as they transition across that outside clip. But look at that, the pressure that Nick Hang is putting onto Ethan.
Yeah, applying the pressure once more. But another near perfect lead run from Ethan out front. Take a look at this, throwing that Z to the top of the bank. Nice angle all the way around. Walking the car down nicely. And then Nick right on the bumper, matching the line as well here in outside zone 2. Applying that pressure. Look at there, giving him a tap. Nicely done with the inside clip. Nice and smooth from Ethan out front. Nick right there with him again. And across the line.
Yeah, this is an amazing battle here with these two as we have Nick Hang back at the line, ready to go in that lead position for the second half. Their one more time battle. Ethan will now chase him down and hopefully stay a little bit closer to him on this chase run as they initiate in. Nick Hang gets nice and high up on the bank, but Ethan matching him, even going a little higher as they come down into that inside clip. And now transitioning into outer zone 2. Oh, right inside goes the chase car of Ethan as he tries to regain some of that proximity. And he does manage to get to that quarter panel as they transition to that final outside clip. And now Ethan a lot closer than the last time and managing to stay right beside Nick. But will that big cut of line come into play with the judges?
Yeah, I think it will. Nick did a much better job out front in his lead run this time as we take another look here. Settles in nicely to the bank. As high as you can be there. Walks it down very smoothly here. Good transition. But there's Ethan in that chase position. Way offline. Nick this time with good angle here through that section of the course. And then here, much smoother. Execution of this last turn a little bit too far on the inside, but much cleaner. We'll go to the judges once more for these two. Ethan on the left, Nick on the right. Winner moves on to the top 16. And there it is. Nick Hang gets the win, moves on into the top 16. What a battle, taking down the #1 qualifier.
Congratulations, Nick. You'll be up against Ryan Literal there in the top 16. But we have more battles to do here. In your lead lane is going to be Maxime Tingai up against Abdulaziz Al Harbi in that GT86. Initiating in, Maxime out front. He's been looking great in qualifying, but Abdul on the door to him as you see a lot more angle thrown near the end of the bank there. Abdul countering that and acting to it well as they come through outer zone 2. Abdul a little far away, but trying to regain that proximity in that chase position. Maxime doing what he needs to do and keeping that car out front and keeping that angle and line. But now Abdulaziz starting to really get on that door and really be right beside him as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, wonderful start to the battle, but we did have quite the situation here in turn 1 along this bank here. We see Maxime enter in, and then you see the smoke disappear, maybe in the wrong gears or something. The car is really kind of shut down, but they keep things going anyway with the help of Abdulaziz in that chase position. Here they go through the middle section of the course. Abdulaziz still right there with him. Maxime now on a good lead line. There they go, finishing out the first half of their battle.
Well, here comes the second half as they're back at the line and changed around. Abdulaziz in that lead position in that GT86, getting chased down now by Maxime Tingai, who hopefully can find the right gear as they come into this first outside zone. Way up on the bank, Maxime is managing to regain that bit of a proximity that he did lose at the beginning of that outer zone, but now catching right up to the door of Abdulaziz. Abdulaziz looking great out front here, really holding it together in that GT86, but Maxime starting to get all over him in that chase position. He's going for a surge to try and get the door. A little bobble there, a little tap as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, Maxime saying he still wants it here as we take another look. Abdulaziz out front, off to a really good start, but Maxime does a fantastic job to close the gap quickly. Nicely done through that transition there from Maxime. Abdulaziz super deep there in outside zone 2, keeps things going. You see Maxime making another dive there right along that bumper, still applying the pressure in that chase position while Abdulaziz is doing everything he's supposed to be doing in that lead. We'll go to the judges. Maxime on the left, Abdulaziz on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there they go. Abdulaziz Al Harbi is going to get the win, move on into the top 16. But a good battle from the both of them.
Very much was, and congratulations there to Abdulaziz to make it through to the top 16. Our next battle, Robert Kavinsky, our current points leader and only trailing the other drivers there by a few points in that lead position, up against Artem Cholkov in that Toyota Supra. Initiating in is Robert Kavinsky. Right with him though is Artem as they are high up on that bank. Coming down, they're door to door as they make that transitioning now into outer zone 2. Artem is not letting up and sticking on that door. A little bit of a bobble there from our lead driver as they exited outer zone 2. Now coming in to that final inside clip, Artem has not left the door of that 370Z since the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take another look here. Robert out front, Artem jumping the light a little bit to stay with him on initiation, and it pays off. Look at there, right next to Robert as they enter in, falls back, but then right back onto the door, and then walks it down off the bank with Robert out front on a good lead line here through outside zone 2. But yeah, maybe a possible bump there from Artem in the chase position. Hard to see with that angle there, but a correction nonetheless out front from Robert, and there they go across the finish line for the first half.
Here we go for the second half of the battle. Artem Cholkov in the lead, getting chased down by Robert Kavinsky as they initiate in. Huge dive from Robert there, and manages to stick with Artem through the bank as they transition down to that inside clip. Another transition into outer zone 2. Robert almost pushing Artem through outer zone 2, staying on that door, leaving just enough room for that transition to happen as they come through that final outside clip. A little bump there from the chase driver as they come through that final inside clip, and a lot closer it almost looked like Robert was on that run.
Yeah, some interesting things happened there. We'll go over them here on the replay. Artem getting out to a really good start, and then Robert making that dive in that chase position, stays with him, matches the angle really nicely here. Another dive through that inside clip, backs off, and then reels him back in as we won't be able to hear it on the replay, but Artem sort of fell out of the boost there, and outside zone 2, he gets a little push from Robert. They keep things going, and then it looks like a lot of speed was dropped there in that outside zone. There they go across that finish line. But we'll go to the judges. Another interesting one to call for him. Robert on the left, Artem Cholkov on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. This is our last battle here in the first group of top 32. Yeah, just taking their time here, maybe trying to see if they can see any contact there in outside zone 2 in that first half. Yeah, tough one to see.
It definitely is, and I mean, I know the judges are going to want to be able to look at everything and make sure they make the right call here.
Ooh, and they've made their call. It's going to be a one more time. So Chris and Carl both choose one more time. Matt chooses Robert, and we're going to line them back up.
Awesome. We get more between these two. I definitely agree with the one more time. I think we need to see it happen one more time. It was very close between them, and it's great to see them battle again. As we do have our championship leader, he must be sweating as he is only 2 points behind the next, or in front of the next driver. So he wants to advance in competition. He wants to gain every point he can, but it's still anyone's game going into the final round. So every point matters here today. Robert Kavinsky out front in that lead lane. Almost a car length behind him is Artem to get that run. And here we go. The lights go solid, and the one more time battle is underway. Robert Kavinsky initiates in. Artem right there with him as they come up high up on the bank. Lots of angle there from that lead driver. Oh, and didn't leave enough room for the transition. So Artem actually straightens out as Kavinsky keeps going on his lead run. It did not affect him on that transition. As they transition again, Artem is pushing as hard as he can. Gives the lead driver a little bit of a tap there as they come through that final inside clip. But that could be very, very interesting for the judges to make out.
Yeah, interesting indeed. We'll take another look here on the replay. Robert setting in nicely up there along the bank, and there Artem coming a part of the fight. But as you pointed out, yeah, it just looks like Artem didn't leave enough room for the transition to happen. They keep things going anyway. Artem back into the fight. Really a 0 from that point. We still have another half of the battle to go. Anything can happen here.
And here we go with the second half of this one more time battle. Artem Cholkov out front, getting chased down now by Robert Kavinsky as they initiate into outer zone 1. High up on the bank is Artem, but a little higher is Robert Kavinsky in that chase position. Oh, that was close on that transition in that inside clip as they transition into outer zone 2. Robert leaving him a little bit of a space, but making up for it before the next inside clip as they transition to the final outside clip. And now, oh, right under the door, almost parking it. It looked like Artem did, causing that incident, but it doesn't upset the chase driver, and they still managed to finish out the run.
Yes, almost similar to the first battle there with Artem out front in that last and final outside zone. Very nicely done here along the wall though, and then Robert popping out of the smoke right along that bumper. They keep things going here in outside zone 2. Much nicer done by Artem there in that lead position, but once again sort of parking it there in outside zone 3. There they go across that finish line. We'll go to the judges again with these two. Robert on the left, Artem on the right. Robert, I don't know why your picture's not working, man, but we'll fix it.
I think judges
and look
are really
at there.
gonna... Oh,
yeah, they've made their decision. Robert hits the win, moves on into the top 16, and that's our first group of top 32 done.
It sure is, and wow. I mean, I knew battles today were going to be crazy, and they already are. I knew we were going to come in lots of one more times. All these drivers are so close. It's anyone's game right now, and they all got to just drive at the optimal level that they possibly can. And it's going to be stressful for all of them, and we're going to see drivers that normally don't make mistakes, and maybe other drivers try to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's a tough one, especially again with the condensed season. Every single round is just that much more important. But take a look at the bracket so far. Nick Hang moving on. Ryan Literal as well. They'll see each other in the top 16 later. Abdulaziz Al Harbi and Robert Kavinsky all moving on into the top 16 in our next group of top 32. Up next, Austin Zalewski, Reese Tatterson, Alexander Yegar, Daniel Andreev, Alan Hines, Alexander Shavruk, Augusto Ferreira, and Luciano Granero. That's I know a couple people asking for a bracket in the chat. We're working on a way to get the interactive bracket out to the public and whatnot. It's sort of a limited link, so take your screenshots if you need to now and follow along. It looks like our next drivers are at the line, ready to go.
They sure are. In your lead lane, you have Austin Zalewski in that JZ880 Supra. And now, for a while, it's finally seeing some more competition below him. The Pro Drift Academy driver, Reese Tatterson. Initiating in is Austin. Nicely done on the initiation. Tons of angle thrown. Reese Tatterson able to keep up with them through there. Almost not leaving enough room for the transition, but keeps it going as they come into outer zone 2. Right on the door, giving a little tap there to Austin in that lead lane was Reese Tatterson as they transition to that final outer clip and now down into that final inside clip, sorry, as you see Reese Tatterson just all over the door of Austin Zalewski.
Yeah, applying the pressure. We'll take another look here. Austin Zalewski out front did extremely well in qualifying and doing well here in the lead position. Nice and high up on the bank. Really doesn't get into the angle until the end. And look at Reese popping out right along that bumper and up onto the door of Austin Zalewski here in outside zone 2. And now a little bit on the inside line, but proximity is there. Austin continuing on. Perfect lead run there in that last and final turn. We'll flip him around.
And flipped around, they are back at the start line. Pro Drift Academy driver Reese Tatterson in that lead position. Austin Zalewski ready to chase him down in that Supra. They both get a good start, and initiating in is Reese Tatterson right with them. Austin Zalewski, a little bit of a gap there between him and Reese as they transition through that first inside clip. And a hit from the chase driver into the rear of Reese Tatterson. It does not upset the run. They keep it going. Austin Zalewski trying to regain that proximity that he now lost with that hit and the loss of momentum. Coming through that final inside clip, he gives another little tap there to Reese Tatterson as they cross that finish line.
And we'll take another look at it here. A close battle between these two. Reese out front this time. Wonderful initiation there. Works that car up to the top of the bank. Nice and high. Good angle as well. And there you see Austin fall back just a little bit and a bump from that chase position through that second transition of the course, lifting the rear end of Reese's car up. But Austin doing a good job to reel Reese back in, stick with him on this last and final turn, apply the pressure, give him a nudge. And we'll go to the judges here. Austin on the left, Reese Tatterson on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And look at there, Reese gets the win. Moving on into the top 16 over Austin Zalewski, but good job from Austin.
Yeah, Austin with a well-fought battle, but I think it all comes down to that hit, and that allows Reese Tatterson to move on into the top 16. Next battle coming to the line at you now. Alexander Yegard in that Toyota Supra. Beside him in the S15, that's going to be Daniel Andrzejewicz, and they're ready to start their battle. Off they go. Good start by both drivers down that long straight, and initiating in is Alexander, but right with him is Daniel as they fly around that bank nice and high up on it as they transition through that inside clip. Daniel in that chase position, trying to keep that proximity and apply that pressure as they come through outer zone 2. On the door is Daniel as he leaves just enough room for that transition into that final outside clip. Now down into that inside clip. Daniel right on the door of Alexander all the way through this course.
Yeah, let's take another look at this. Alexander Yegard out front in his Supra, throwing that thing in, but not as high as he could be until there, adding the angle as well. But Daniel right in tow in that chase position, right along the bumper through that transition, reels him back in, right there in the pocket of Alexander Yegard's Supra. Alexander doing a good job out front, making this easy for Daniel in that chase position. Both make a little bobble there, and there they go across the finish line.
Well, ready to duke it out for the second half of their battle. Daniel in that lead lane with Alexander ready to chase him down. A better start there, but it looks like we are going to get a restart as someone either jumped the lights or something happened.
Yeah, just barely jumping the light there.
Now, when you're trying to go for those 000s. All right, well, let's try this again. We'll reignite the light. Daniel in the lead lane. Alexander chasing him down. This time a good getaway from both drivers. Initiating in is Daniel. Way down low on the bank was Alexander, but they start pulling their way back up as they come through that inside clip. Daniel's now all over the rear bumper of Alexander's all over the rear bumper of Daniel as he starts to regain that proximity outside of outer zone 2, coming through that inside clip. Now transitioning to the last outer clip, coming down to that inside clip. Oh man, look at that. Alexander right along the door of Daniel.
Yeah, wow. We'll take another look. Daniel's initiation and first turn here. So good, setting into this bank here along the wall, super high. Walks it down. Alexander's right there though in that chase position, sacrificing quite a bit of line there in that chase position, and then Daniel starts to pull away here in the middle section of the course. Nice angle through that last and final outside zone, and there's Alexander Yegard way on the inside. Before crossing that finish line, we'll go to the judges here. Alexander Yegard on the left, Daniel on the right. And winner moves on into the top 16. And there it is, Daniel Andreyev getting the win, moving on into the top 16 over Alexander Yegard. Fantastic battle.
Yeah, very good job from both drivers, but it already looks like we have our next battle at the line and ready to go. In your lead lane is Pro Drift Academy driver Alan Hines up against Alexander Shavrook. Now this will be a good battle. Alan Hines coming out here swinging, but Alexander Shavrook is no rookie here. Up along the wall was Reese Tatterson dragging that wing, but right beside him is Alexander Shavrook as they transition into outer zone 2. Alexander is really putting on that pressure onto Alan Hines, keeping that tire on his door through that inside clip as they transition to the final outer clip. Look at that on the door, the proximity from the chase. Wow.
Yeah, wow, indeed. Let's take another look. Alan Hines out front in the Pro Drift Academy S15 being chased down by Alexander Shavrook. Now, small mistake from Shavrook there on initiation, but gets back into the pocket of that lead car. Nice transition by the both of them there. Alan Hines super snappy there, but Alexander Severuk staying with him, sacrificing quite a bit of angle there through that inside clip, but then right back onto the door for this last turn and across that finish line.
Well, now back around at the start gate, we have Alexander Severuk in that lead position with Alan Hines ready to chase him down. Alan Hines has to bring the pressure here. Alexander Severuk with a good getaway. Alan Hines ready to get on the door as they initiate onto that bank. Up high on it, but even higher is the chase driver of Alan Hines. They transition down to that inside clip into outer zone 2. Here we go around that long outer zone. Alexander Severuk maybe pulling away just a little bit, a little correction there from the chase driver of Alan Hines as they come into that final outer zone into that inside clip. Alan Hines managing to get it onto the quarter panel of Alexander Severuk.
Man, what a close battle we have here in front of us. We'll take another look at the second half of it. Alexander out front this time, initiating in, sacrificing a little bit of line there, but works the car up to the top. Alan Hines in that chase position, making a dive there along the bumper into outside zone 2 and staying with him. Alexander sacrificing a little bit of angle there as well, again through that inside clip. And then right along the door is Alan Hines as they cross that finish line. We'll go to the judges. Alan Hines on the left, Alexander Severuk on the right. But could we see him go one more time here in the top 32? And no, it's going to be Alan Hines gets the win. He moves on into the top 16 over Alexander Severuk. So just a little bit too much sacrificing in that angle, I think, in a couple places throughout the course is what's going to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly that. As we move on to, well, the last battle of this half of the bracket, Augusto Ferreira in that RTR Mustang. And beside him, the rotary-powered Corvette of Luciano Canero. Luciano missing his first run of qualifying and coming out swinging and getting a 93, but already sleeping at the line. Augusto Ferreira way far ahead in that RTR Mustang. The rotary-powered Corvette is trying its best to catch back up by outer zone 2 as Augusto comes through it. Now Luciano starting to be able to put on that pressure, but that was a huge gap at the first half of this course. They transition to that final outside clip. A touch there from the chase driver of Luciano as he tries to get it back up on the door as they finish out this run.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it. Augusto in this new chassis here and looking good off the line, just leaving Luciano behind here. Huge gap, maybe gets a little piece of the wall. Finally gets into some good angle there across that inside clip, maybe a little bit too far on the inside. And now Luciano was back into the fight with that rotary powered Corvette there. Augusto, good angle through that inside clip. And then getting the nudge from Luciano and the Corvette before crossing that finish line.
Well, back around at the start, the rotary-powered Corvette of Luciano is now in that lead lane with Augusto Ferreira's new Mustang ready to chase him down. Let's hope the rotary gets to a better start than it did on the chase run as Luciano initiates in nice and high up on the bank. A little lower down is the chase driver of Augusto as they transition through that inside clip now into outer zone 2. Looking good out front for Luciano, but now the pressure is starting to be put on from the chase driver of Augusto as they come through that inside clip and transition to the last 2 clips of this course. Augusto's going to put that pressure on and gives the lead driver a little bit of a touch, but they both finish out the run almost side by side.
Yeah, here we go. Back to the replay here. Luciano out front in the Corvette this time, and it seemed like just couldn't get up to speed there. Little struggles there getting the car to initiate, but once he's back in it, he's on a good line and high up on that bank, settles in nicely to outside zone 2 here. But Augusto right there in the fight in that big Mustang following that Corvette through this course. Good job from Luciano here, but a little bit wide there. You see, just barely getting to that second hash. Will go to the judges. Augusto on the left, Luciano on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there they go, quickly over to the left. Augusto Ferreira gets the win, moves on into the top 16 over Luciano Canero.
What an amazing run by these two, and it's great to see Augusto performing well in the new chassis. Yeah, it'll be great to see him up against Alan Hines in the top 16.
Yeah, we'll take another look at the bracket. Reese Tatterson and Daniel Andreev will face off in the top 16. Both of them moving on in that group there in top 32. Alan Hines and Augusto Ferreira as well will face off in the top 16. Both of them moving on. But our next group, top right, Zach O'Sullivan and Samuel Cuddy will face off first. Artem Markushenko and Vladislav Yakulovich. Alexander Element and Kawain Ebanks, Darius Ostreka, and Brandon Patrick will battle it out coming up next in the top 32. All right, and that's last call from our head judge, Chris Witowski. Drivers will take their last little practice runs as we see the chaos unfold.
The mad dash to get that last run in.
Yeah.
They haven't already had a week to practice it. It's okay.
2 weeks. And a whole media day,
you need more. All the practice, all the time to be good, better at good.
Yeah. Laying the virtual rubber down,
Laying that virtual rubber down.
Simulation rubber.
I like that term. Simulation rubber. I think Red Bull's going to patent that now. As we have our next battle at the line in your top lead lane there, the Sim Magic Supra of Zach O'Sullivan, currently 2 points behind Robert Kavinsky, up against Samuel Cuddy in that BMW in the chase lane. And the lights are on and off we go for the first half of this battle. Zach O'Sullivan out front, Samuel Cuddy giving chase. Zach O'Sullivan with a great initiation, nice and high up on the bank, but Samuel Cuddy right there with him as they transition down the hill. Oh, I thought they were going to make contact there as they transition into outer zone 2. Looking good out front there from Zach O'Sullivan, but Samuel Cuddy matching him very nicely throughout this course as we come through that final outside clip as a little tap there from the chase driver as they come through that inside clip and across the line.
Yeah, what a lead run from Zach O'Sullivan here. We'll take another look. Samuel doing a good job as well, but falling back here and there. Zach all the way up at the top of the bank. Walks that Supra down nicely. And Samuel trying to reel Zach back in, sacrificing a bit of line there in outside zone 2, but sticking with him nonetheless through this middle section of the course, right on the bumper, through that transition, and then reeling him back in. But Zach on a good line there on that last and final turn.
Well, now back around at the start gate. Samuel Cuddy now in the lead lane with Zach O'Sullivan ready to chase him down. Good start by both drivers. Zach trying to stay really close as they initiate in. Nice and high up on the bank is Samuel Cuddy, but right behind him is Zach O'Sullivan transitioning down to that inside clip. Oh man, right along the bumper as they come into outer zone 2. A little bobble there from that chase position as Zach is trying to apply as much pressure as possible as they transition into the final outside clip. A little bit of a gap there, but Zach manages to sneak back up onto the door of Samuel Cuddy and finish side by side.
Wow, fantastic battle between these two. We'll take another look at it. Here's Samuel Cuddy out front in that BMW, settling in nicely, but starts out a little shallow. Could have been a bit higher on the bank there, struggling a little bit to walk that car down off the bank. And then finally settling into outside zone 2 there. Zach having a little bobble in that chase position, but staying with him through that transition. Sam a little bit outside, but Zach O'Sullivan right there with him as they cross that finish line. Will go to the judges. Zach on the left, Samuel on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Again, here still in the top 32. And these battles are going nuts already. Judges taking their time with this one. Could we maybe see them line up again for a second time in the top 32? And Zach qualifying second earlier today, and Samuel qualifying 31st. But Samuel still had a 91-point run. So, you know, the difference isn't huge, as you pointed out earlier, Tanner.
Yeah, I think that's, well, one thing that needs to be relayed to the viewers, right, is sometimes you think of, oh, well, first place, you know, really good, 32 plays, well, kind of good, you know, but in this case, it's really good on both ends.
Absolutely. And they're going to line up again. It's going to be a one more time. Totally split decision there. Chris goes with a one more time. Carl goes with Samuel, and Matt goes with Zach. So we're going to line them up.
Well, that sounds like a fun time, as Zach loves his one more times. And I'm sure Samuel Cuddy wants another shot to maybe try and get right back on the door of Zach as he did in that first run. So we'll see them line back up here as Zach O'Sullivan in the Sim Magic Supra lines up in that lead position, and Samuel Cuddy in the Escuco BMW lines up in that chase lane. And here we go. Lights go on. The power is laid down. Zach O'Sullivan initiates in. Not as close this time with Samuel Cuddy. As high up on the bank goes Zach. Samuel starting to make up that proximity as they come through that inside clip. A little too far inside was the lead driver as they come into outer zone 2. Right away, the pressure is trying to be put on by the BMW of Samuel, but it wasn't really able to get it the proximity he wanted through outer zone 2. But now a bunch of bumps and taps and bruises as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, good first half to their one more time battle here. Zach O'Sullivan out front in his Supra, Samuel giving chase and falling behind here before initiation. Samuel has to reel Zach back in. He does a good job doing so right there along the bumper through that first and second transition there. Zach settling in nicely to outside zone 2, but pulling away a little bit from Samuel there, showing the speed in that Supra. Nicely settled into the last and final outside zone, and there, as you pointed out, getting pushed along from that chase driver.
Well, we'll see what happens now in the second half of this battle. Samuel Cuddy in that lead position. Zach O'Sullivan ready to chase him down. Let's see if Zach can maybe keep a little bit more proximity as they initiate into that first outer zone along the bank. Looking good by both drivers. Zach, though, right there with Samuel as they transition down to that inside clip. Now into outer zone 2. Holding a nice line through outer zone 2, but look at that proximity from Zach along the wheel of Samuel Cuddy as they come through that inside clip and now transition for the final time through that outer clip into the inside clip. Zach pushes up and keeps that nice proximity with no contact.
Yeah, maybe a little bit smoother there in that chase position as Zach O'Sullivan this time will take another look. Samuel settling in nicely to the wall. This time a little bit higher there. Much smoother down off the bank as well in that lead position from Samuel, but almost over rotating there. Maybe getting a little bit of help from Zach in that chase position in the Supra. Zach right along the bumper. Sam super deep in that last and final outside zone and tight to the inside clip. And there they go across that finish line. We'll go to the judges again between these two. Zach on the left, Samuel Cuddy on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there it is, Zach O'Sullivan. He is going to get the win, and we'll see him later on.
A good job there from Zach, keeping that car under control and moving it on to the top 16. That's more points for him, and so we'll see what happens after that. But on to our next battle. Artem Makashenko in that lead position in that beautiful Audi RS3, getting chased down by Vladislav Yakulovich in that BMW, that fresh auto BMW, initiating in. Look at the proximity already from Vladislav, trying to stay on the door through the bank as they transition down to that inside clip, now into outer zone 2. Vladislav all over the door of Artem Makashenko. Artem trying to keep that car nice and in line, but Vladislav putting that chase car as close to it as he possibly can. Look at that proximity as they cross the line.
Absolutely insane initiation from Vladislav in this chase position here. I about fell out of my seat. Look at there, right along the bumper. Settles in nicely, is a little bit lower on the bank, but the proximity is there. Now, if we take a close look there, coming off the bank, I almost want to play the replay again, but Vladislav struggles to get that car down off the bank while staying in drift there. It's tough to see back behind that smoke screen, but continuing on is both of them, and Vladislav is right there with him the whole time.
Well, we'll see what happens in the second half of this battle as the BMW of Vladislav Yakulovich is now in the lead lane, getting chased down by Artem Makashenko in that Audi RS3, initiating in to that first outside zone along the bank. Lots of angle there from Vladislav, but Artem a little higher up on the bank as they transition through that inside clip, and now along the bumper into outer zone 2, but it looked like Makashenko couldn't get the angle he needed through outer zone 2, almost touching the front end of Yakulovich as they transition now into that final outside clip, and that was good mimicking from the chase driver, now just trying to stick with the door of Vladislav all the way through to that finish.
Yeah, interesting to see there with the Audi in that chase position on the last turn, really struggling to stay behind Vladislav. We'll take another look though. Vladislav doing a good job out front along that bank. Same sort of deal almost with Artem in that chase position coming off the bank as well. And then there in that chase position, really struggling to hold angle in that car as well through the inside clip. And there, yeah, just trying to check the pace there. That lead car seemed okay. We'll go to the judges. We'll let them handle it and maybe go over some of those replays, see what took place there. A lot happened in such a short span in that battle. Yeah, we're gonna line them up again one more time between these two, and I think you know, it might be the right call. It's just, you know, little mistakes here and there. Sure, Vladislav, you know, through a majority of that chase run, he had a fantastic proximity, but coming off the bank, yes, something definitely happened there. And then turning it around too. Yeah,
I agree on the one more time decision. I think it was just a little scrappy, I guess is the term I'll use. We'd like to see a little more clear cut out of both these guys. So now lining them back up around for a one more time. Artem Makashenko in that Audi RS3 up against Vladislav Yakulovich in the fresh auto BMW. Let's start this one more time battle. Off they go, initiating in. Vladislav trying to get right up on the door there off the initiation. He likes doing that kind of initiation here as they transition into outer zone 2. A little touch though to the front back bumper of that lead car, and another contact through outer zone 2 from that chase position as they transition to that final outside clip. Another push now from Yakulovich. Look at that, basically pushing Artem across that finish line.
Wow, much cleaner this time around. Although Vladislav, it almost didn't work out for him that time. When he entered in, it was a bit too early and ended up pretty shallow up on the bank, but then works it back up almost pushing Artem through that turn. And there's that snappy transition from that chase position, Vladislav. And then sticking with him, giving him a little nudge there right along the bumper through that transition as well. And then here applying the pressure once more, and our Artem on a very good lead line there for that last and final turn.
Well, now back around at the start line, we get to see the second half of this one more time battle. Vladislav Yakulovich in the lead lane, getting chased down by Artem Makushenko, but we do have a restart for a jump of the lights. So reverse it on up. And let's try it again. Really far back is Yakulovich there. There we go. Still very far back, almost a car length. Car length and a half, so he's trying to get a good jump and run here on the speedy BMW of Vladislav as they initiate into outer zone 1. Look at that! Artem Makushenko mimicking him through that banked outside zone as they come through the transition to outer zone 2. Coming through outer zone 2 now, Makushenko trying to keep it up, trying to keep in the pocket there of Vladislav Yakulovich. They transition to that final outer clipping point and down into that inside clip. Now Vladislav trying to pull away just a little bit, and wow, this is a battle between these two.
Yeah, they both ended up cleaning it up. We'll take another look here. A look at that initiation from Artem, applying the pressure in a much better way, I feel like, in that chase position. Now he falls back quite a bit there and then has to reel him in on a little bit of an inside line there for outside zone 2. Vladislav doing a good job out front, doing what he is supposed to do in that lead position, filling that next outside zone. Small little bobble there, and there's Artem sticking with him across that finish line. We'll go to the judges once more between these two. Again, winner moves on into the top 16, and this is their one more time battle. Will we see him maybe line up again for another one more time, or will the judges have a decision here in the top 32? We've got one decision here. Chris to the right, Matt to the left. It's up to Carl, and Vladislav Yakulovich gets the win, and we'll see him later on in the top 16.
Wow. Very hard battle between these two. And now we will see Vladislav Yakulovich go up against Zach O'Sullivan in the top 16 later today. As we move on to our next battle here, Alexander Element in that 370Z up against Kawayne Ebanks in that huge R35 GTR. We wait for the lights to go on, and the battle's underway. Alexander Element off to a good start. Kawayne Ebanks right there with him as they initiate into outer zone 1. High up on the bank is Element, but Kawayne mimicking him perfectly through that outer zone as they transition. Cutting the line big time was Kawayne Ebanks. Kawayne Ebanks over-rotates and almost spins out and has to recorrect as Element just keeps on going in that lead position, holding it through to the last outer clipping point. Now down into that inside clip. Kawayne manages to regain, but I think that over-rotation is really going to be a nail in the coffin for this run.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here. Alexander Element out front being chased down by Kawayne, and maybe a little bit of contact there before initiation, but they keep things going nonetheless. Alexander walks it down off the bank, and there's that bump in that chase position. Alexander doing a fantastic job to keep things going, but Kawayne has to get back into the fight, and I think really the run is sort of shut down there with that chase position. As we'll flip him around.
And flip him around indeed we will, with Kawayne Ebanks down that lead position. Alexander Element going to chase him down. Off the start line they go towards initiation. Initiating in, Kawayne Ebanks good up on the bank, but look at Alexander Element coming down right behind him in that chase position again, cutting that inside line for Kawayne Ebanks as they come through outer zone 2. Alexander Element really applying the pressure through outer zone 2 as they transition that final outside clipping point. Looking at it now, coming on your screen, the pressure and the, oh man, the proximity from Element there onto Kawayne near the end.
Yeah, Element applying the pressure anyway in that chase position after a huge mistake in the first half of the battle, but Kawain doing a good job in the GTR out front, high up on the bank. Nice and smooth down off of it as well, but a ton of angle there through inside clip 1. Settles in nicely to outside zone 2, but Alexander Element right there in that chase position, right in the pocket, right along the bumper through the transition as well. They keep things going. Wayne doing what he needs to do out front. And we'll go to the judges. Alexander Element on the left, Kawain on the right. Winner moves into the top 16. Again, still in the top 32 with these crazy battles here. And there they go. Alexander Element gets the win. We'll see him later on into that top 16. And we're sending cars already.
Yep, a little jumped ahead, but Darius Ostreka in the lead position with Brandon Patrick in the Triple F Ferrari giving chase as they come through outer zone 1. Really knows the tail transition into outer zone 2. Brandon Patrick is all over Darius Ostreka. Darius Ostreka did very well in qualifying here, but so did Brandon. So these two are going to be having a fight as they come into that final out the inside clip. And look at the proximity from Brandon this whole run.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here on the replay. Darius out front, almost missing the battle there. Chris needs to slow down there in that race control. Darius looking good though, down off the bank. Snappy transition, leaves that outside quite a bit though, out front. But look at Brandon in that chase position with that big Ferrari right along the bumper as well through the transition. Right back onto the door. And Darius with a fantastic lead run as well.
Well, now back at the start line and flipped around, the Triple F Ferrari of Brandon Patrick in that lead lane. Darius Ostreka in the BMW ready to hunt him down. Initiating in is Brandon Patrick, but hits the wall. Brandon Patrick hits the wall and it almost causes him to not initiate, but he does manage to keep it together as they transition into outer zone 2. Brandon Patrick keeps the momentum going. Darius Ostreka just hanging back a little bit as he knows this transition's coming up. As they transition into that final outside clip, now the pressure comes on from Darius as Darius gets right up onto the door as well. And could that wall tap make or break this run?
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here. Very interesting from Brandon out front. Yeah, just a tiny little wall tap there just before that little pocket along the bank. And just stops that car from initiation. Really throwing the car to angle into outside zone 2 though, keeping things going. Darius doing what he needs to do in the chase to not zero out, keep the run going. And there they go across that finish line. We'll go to the judges. Darius Ostreka on the left, Brandon Patrick on the right. But it's going to be Darius Ostreka getting the win, moving on into the top 16, and that's going to shake the points up.
That definitely is. I mean, first of all, I can't believe we're still in the top 32 with how close these battles are. It's like we still have a lot to get through today. So for all you watching, you get wonderful content all day long. But coming into this next group, I mean, it's anyone's game. Even with one round remaining, it's still anyone's game, and it's going to be crazy. I mean, looking at how the bracket is unfolding, you know, we might even see Alan Hines and Reese Tatterson go at it together, which would be awesome to see. But if that happens, like, that's really cool. So yeah.
Yeah, some more exciting battles coming up as well. Tikon Pileski and Marcus Lundquist will start us off for our last and final group of top 32. Again, precision versus style there with that battle. Victor Alves and Peter Palinkovich. Masashi Yoshida and Brandon Garner, Ernestes Yakulibis and Dan Dirks will face off against each other here in the top 32. All right, and I think we are getting last call from the judges there, bringing the drivers to the line. And it looks like we're mixing Marcus Lundquist from the server. Well, he just got in now, but I think we're going to skip ahead. We are Victor Alves is at the line ready to go to face off against Peter Palinkovich.
Yeah, it sure is. Victor Alves in that lead lane in the S15 being chased down by the Supra of Peter as they initiate in. A good initiation and speed from Victor out front, but Peter able to catch back up by the end of that outer zone as they transition to outer zone 2. A good line here from Alves, but look at the pressure that Peter's putting onto him as he doesn't leave enough room for the transition and taps that rear bumper, but now manages to catch back up and stay on the door of Victor Alves all the way through to that finish.
Yeah, and then really falling out of angle a ton there before crossing the finish line. Really close to zeroing out there in that chase position. We'll take another look here. Victor out to a good start. You see Peter kind of wash that car into the bank turn there, keeping things going though. Right along that white line is Victor Alves, settled in nicely to outside zone 2, and then not quite leaving enough room for the transition, making the transition late. Kind of throws Victor out to the outside, and there's that bit of straightening from that chase position before crossing the finish line.
Well, now they're back at the line and flipped around. Peter in that lead position with Victor ready to chase him down. The lights go on and the second half of this battle's underway. Initiating in is Peter, and a good getaway from Peter up on that bank, adding a lot of angle near the end, but Victor's sticking right with him. Is this a speedy run between these two? Victor maybe going off course just a little bit there, but staying with Peter through that outer zone 2 as they transition to that final 2 clips of the course. Pulling away a little bit is Peter, but Victor managing to catch back up and stick it on the quarter panel of Peter's Supra.
Yeah, we'll take another look here. Peter out front, and a bit similar initiation that he had in his chase there. Just kind of washes the car into the turn there, a little bit shallow, and then works it out to the outside to the top of the bank there. Victor falling back a little bit, but then right back onto the door as Peter sacrifices a little bit of line there in outside zone 2. Could have been a bit deeper. Victor doing a good job in that chase position. Falls back a little bit here though, but starts to reeling back in, and there they go across that finish line for the second half of their battle. So we go to the judges. Victor on the left, Peter on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there they go. We have a decision quickly. Victor Alves, he gets the win, moves on into the top 16, and we'll see him later on.
Great to see Victor Alves in the top 16 as we have our next battle at the line. We have Tikhon Pileski in the Fresh Auto S14 in the lead position, and beside him in that 240 SX is Marcus Lundquist in Mr. Pink Drifter himself. Initiating in is Tikhon Pileski, nice and high on the bank, but right beside him, mimicking him through it, is Marcus Lundquist. As they come through, Marcus loses almost all drift through that first inside clip, but Tikhon is doing a great job out front as Marcus now manages to catch back up and get back on the door of Tikhon Pileski, having to jam on the brakes to avoid hitting Pileski, and now just finishes out the run.
Yeah, a couple of mistakes here and there from that chase position as we take another look here. Tikhon doing a really good job out front, throwing that car in nice and high on the bank, works it out to the outside there. Marcus sacrificing a little bit, and right there, yeah, very close to straightening up in that chase position. Sacrifices a ton of line coming into outside zone 2 as well, while Tikhon continues on a near perfect lead run here, filling that next outside zone. And there you see Marcus trying to close that gap and then going just a little bit too wide.
Well, now as we have this second half of this battle ready to get underway, Marcus in that lead position, Tikhon Pileski ready to chase him down. Let's see if Marcus can hold his own in the lead. Initiating in, and Tikhon right beside him as they come through, but into the wall goes Marcus, and he straightens out and has to reinitiate, but it somehow does not affect the robot Pileski in behind him. Could we see? Is the robot back? Is he here? It's great to see as they come through that final outside clip into the inside clip, and right along his door was Tikon Pileski.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Marcus out front in his S13 being chased down by Tikon Pileski. They enter in. Yeah, and just grabbing a piece of the wall is Marcus Lundqvist. It's tough to see, looking to see if there was maybe any contact there before him going into the wall, making sure that Tikon maybe didn't push him up there. We'll actually we'll let this play out here. Door to door there. We'll let the replay run again just for that first turn. Oh yeah, well off of him there. Marcus just going into the wall all on his own. We'll go to the judges there. Tikon Pileski on the left, Marcus Lundqvist on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Important battle for Tikon here, and he does. He gets the win, moves on into the top 16. We'll see him later on. We've got another battle up.
We sure do. The second to last battle here of the top 32. In the lead position, Masashi Yoshida in that V8 powered R33 up against Brandon Gardner in that new Nissan Z. Masashi did great here in qualifying. Let's see how he does today in battles. Initiating in, Masashi Yoshida out front with Brandon right there with them as they come through outer zone 1. Good line drawn here by our lead car as Brandon Gardner just tries to stay in that pocket as they transition into outer zone 2. Coming and pushing up on that door is Brandon, trying to get that proximity. Yoshida just putting the car where it needs to go as they come through that second to last clip, and through the inside clip, Brandon manages to put it on the door of Yoshida before passing the finish line.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Masashi on a good lead line out front, but Brandon applying the pressure when needed. Look at here. High up on the bank, Brandon sacrificing a little bit of line there in that chase position, falls back a little bit as Masashi takes a second for that car to really settle down coming off that bank. But look there, Brandon right there in that chase position along that bumper, making that transition and right back into the pocket of that R32 as they cross that finish line.
Now we're back at the line. The NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z of Brandon Gardner in the lead position. The R33 of Masashi Yoshida giving chase. Down the straight they come, and initiating in is Brandon Gardner, but a huge surge there off the initiation from Masashi as he tries to keep on the door of Brandon Gardner as they transition through that inside clip now into outer zone 2. Masashi carrying tons of speed to try and get on the door of Brandon Gardner as they come through that inside clip and make the final transition through that outside clip. Now touching his door, touching his wheel, hitting Brandon all over the place was Yoshida before they pass that finish line.
Yeah, applying the pressure in that chase position. We'll take another look here on the replay. Second half of the battle, Brandon out front, off to a good start, but look at there, closing the gap quickly is Masashi. Falls back a little bit after he does so though, reels him back in. However, through this second transition of the course, Brandon on a good lead line though, right in the pocket of that outside zone. A little bit too tight to the inside clip, but then filling that next outside zone, and there's the nudges from Masashi Yoshida in that chase position. There they go across that finish line. We'll go to the judges. Masashi on the left, Brandon Gardner on the right. Tough battle between these two. Could we see him maybe line up again? It looks like we have a decision here. And it's going to be Brandon Gardner getting the win over Masashi. Matt choosing a one more time, but Chris and Carl going with Brandon.
And a good battle indeed between those two, and congratulations to Brandon making his way onto the top 16. Our final battle of top 32 is here. Ernestus Yakulovas in that S14 in the lead position up against Dan Dirks. Dan Dirks in his BMW, and they are ready to close out the top 32, and we'll see who takes that final spot in the top 16. The light goes on and off they go. Down the straight, initiating in. Already a huge gap established from Yakulibis out front as they come through outer zone 1. A little tap there, but coming down into that inside clip, transitioning. Dan Dirks almost not leaving enough room for that transition as they come through outer zone 2. Looks like Dan Dirks struggling a little bit in that chase position as they transition one last time. And a huge gap established here from Ernestus out front as they come across that finish line.
Yeah, really kind of established the gap right off the gate here. Ernestus getting off to a really good start, settles in a little bit shallow there, starts to work that car back up there. Dan Dirks in that chase position right along the bumper through these first set of transitions, but then starts to fall off right there in the middle of that outside zone 2. And just never really made up the gap from there. A little bit in this last and final outside turn. And they go across that finish line, and they're lined back up for the second half of their battle.
They sure are. Dan Dirks ready to lead them to the finish of the top 32, with Ernestus ready to chase him down as they get away. Dan Dirks off to an actual nice lead there, but a huge surge from Ernestus out in the chase position, having to get on the brakes as Dan Dirks kind of went offline to that first outside zone. Now transitioning to outer zone 2. Seems like Dirks has that car settled, but Ernestus is all over the door of Dan Dirks. They transition to that final outside clipping point, diving down to that inside. Look at Ernestus just dancing with that throttle, keeping it side by side with Dan Dirks all the way through to the finish.
Yeah, we'll take another look at this initiation here from Dan Dirks. He gets off to a good start, but then drops a ton of speed there. Doesn't quite make it to the outside, while Ernestus looking to close the gap there. Really surprised some contact wasn't made, but they keep things going. Ernestus right there in the pocket of Dan Dirks' BMW. Nice on the transition as well. Right along that bumper, sticking with him through this last turn. And there they go across that finish line. We'll go to the judges for maybe the final time here in the top 32. Ernestus on the left, Dan Dirks on the right. Winner moves on to the top 16. And there they go, all three unanimous decision. Ernestus gets the win, and we'll see him later on. Again, that is going to do it for top 32. There is your bracket and the drivers that are moving forward into the top 16. Nick Hang and Ryan Literal up against each other. Abdulaziz Al-Harbi and Robert Kavinsky. Reese Datterson and Daniel Andreev. Alan Hines and Augusto Federa. Zach O'Sullivan and Vladislav Yakulovich. Alexander Element and Darius Ostraka. Tikon Pileski and Victor Alves, and Brandon Gardner and Ernestus Yakulibis. We will take a very short break here in between the top 32 and top 16, and we'll be right back with some more battles here for round 5 at Wall Stadium. All right, we are back with more battles here, ready for the top 16. Let's take a look at that bracket. Nick Hang and Ryan Literal will start things out for us. Abdulaziz Al-Harbi and Robert Kavinsky right after them. Reese Tatterson and Daniel Andreev, Alan Hines and Augusto Ferreira to start things out for us. That first group of the top 16 here for round 5. Yeah, I just noticed actually it says round 6 up there in the top left, doesn't it, for the bracket? It is round 5. Round 6 will be our finals, and I can't wait to announce what track that's going to be too. A lot of excitement.
I think they're in for a treat.
Absolutely. So I'm here at last call from the judges there for these drivers to take their last little bit of practice runs before we kick things off here at top 16. Thanks everyone for joining. Hope you have enjoyed the show. I certainly have. These battles have been crazy, and they're only going to get crazier.
I mean, if you look at what we did with the top 32, we still have the top 16, the top 8, the top 4, and then the finals to get through. So hold on to your seats. It's going to be a roller coaster ride.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. As we have our first battle coming to the line, FD's own PowerStop S15 Ryan Literal up against Nick Hang in that RPM S14. Ryan Literal being no stranger to this track, was driven here many times in real life, now laying it down in the virtual land, and we'll see if Nick can hang with Ryan Literal. Initiating in, looking good. Nick Hang right on the door of Ryan Literal as they come off initiation, up the bank and back down, transitioning through that inside clip. This is the start of the top 16 into outer zone 2. Look at the proximity from Nick Hang, almost pushing Ryan Literal there through outer zone 2 as he backs off for the final transition into that last outside clip and down into the inside. Nick getting a little too aggressive and almost pushing Ryan Literal offline.
Yeah, wonderful start to this battle. You got me there with that intro. Nick did end up hanging throughout this run with Ryan Literal. As we take another look here, Ryan super high up onto the bank and walks that car down so smooth off of it. Settles in nicely to outside zone 2. Nick Hang right in the pocket of that S15, sticking with him through this transition as well. Ryan super smooth out front, does go a little wide here and ends up really almost third hash on that inside clip.
Well, back around at the front, Nick Hang now in the lead position with Ryan Literal ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off they go. The second half of the top 16 battle underway. Initiating in is Nick Hang. Right with him though was Ryan Literal, but a little bit of proximity lost there through that bank as Ryan starts to regain it back here coming into outer zone 2. Nick Hang on that angle. Ryan Literal starting to regain that proximity now with that angle, cutting that inside though quite a bit as they transition in that last outer clip and down into the next inside clip, but managing to pull away from Ryan Literal a little bit there at the end.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Nick Hang out front this time in his S14, throwing that thing in there super high along that bank, staying with the wall all the way around it, walks it down off smooth as well. Ryan dropping back a little bit, but then right there through that transition, sacrificing a little bit of angle in that chase position to keep the proximity, but he does keep it right along that bumper there through that transition. Nick almost going backwards there, has to pull some out of it. He does it smoothly to get that inside clip. We'll go to the judges here. Nick Hang on the left, Ryan Literal on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. And first battle here in the top 16. And they're sliding left. Chris goes left. Carl goes left. Nick Hang. Oh, okay. Whoa. Okay, so no. Psych. Ryan Literal gets the win and moves on into the top 8.
They just
Sorry,
wanted to
Nick.
sneak us out there. Very good job from Ryan Literal getting the win there over Nick Hang and moving on to the top 8, which I think is the farthest he's been yet in competition, as we have our next battle ready to go. Robert Kavinsky, our current point leader, up against Abdulaziz Al-Harbi, initiating in to outer zone 1. Lots of angle, but a big surge there from Abdulaziz in that chase position, managing to get back on the door of Robert Kavinsky, maybe not leaving enough room for that transition, and almost parking his GT86 in that chase position as it affected the lead driver just a little bit, but Robert Kavinsky doesn't seem too phased by it as they come down to that final inside clip, cutting the inside clip big time from that chase driver just to stay on the door of Robert Kavinsky.
Yeah, I think that is going to be looked at as a deduction, if anything. We'll take another look at it here. Robert out front doing a really good job along the bank, walking that car down nicely, grabs that inside clip, smooth transition right into that pocket of outside zone 2. Abdulaziz sacrificing quite a bit of angle there to reel him back in. Nicely done along the bumper though. And Robert, a ton of angle there. He does drive back into it quite a bit. But a lot of line sacrifice there from Abdulaziz. Tough one to call.
It definitely will be, but that's why their judges were commentators. We're here to bring the entertainment. Second half of the battle, Abdulaziz out front with Robert giving chase. Initiating in is Abdul with a nice initiation. Robert, though, sticking with him, going even higher on the bank as they transition down to that inside clip. Now into outer zone 2. Lots of angle thrown from Abdulaziz, but it's not upsetting that chase driver, sticking right with them on that door as they transition again to that final outside clip and down to that inside clip. Looking good. Robert keeping that pressure on and just keeping it on the door of Abdulaziz.
Yeah, here we go with the replay. Abdulaziz out front this time, really swinging the car out here for the initiation and settles in pretty high up on the bank, works it back even further, giving the wall a little tap there before coming down off of it. Nicely done inside, leaves the outside a little bit there as he somewhat over rotates into outside zone 2. Keeps things going though with Robert right there on the door, right along the bumper, through that middle section of the course. Really good line here this time from Abdulaziz Al-Harbi out front, but Robert again right there with him. We'll go to the judges. Abdulaziz Al-Harbi on the left, Robert Kavinsky on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. Chris, Carl, and Matt, unanimous decision. Robert moves on, and we'll see him in just a little bit in the top 8.
Right, as we move on to our next battle, and good congratulations there to Robert for advancing, as we have Daniel in that S15 up against Reese Tatterson. Daniel initiates in, Reese Tatterson in that Pro Drift Academy S15 right with him as he starts to throw a lot of angle near the end of that bank. Transitions down. Reese Tatterson lost a bit of ground, but coming into outer zone 2, Reese Tatterson starting to regain it. Daniel on a good line here, but having to back off a little bit is the chase driver of Reese Tatterson as they transition for the final time in this course, as Reese really starts to put on that pressure and get right up on the door of Daniel Andrzejewicz.
Yeah, good start to the battle here between these two. Daniel Andreyev out front in his S15 being chased down by Reese Tatterson in Pro Drift Academy S15, and Reese falling down a little bit off the bank, bobbles here and there as well in that chase position, sacrificing some line into outside zone 2, but right there in the pocket of that lead driver, Daniel Andreyev. Good smooth transition out front here, goes a little bit wide and doesn't quite make it back to the inside clip, and Reese is right there with him across that finish line.
Well, here they are for the second half of this battle. Reese Tatterson out front, Daniel ready to chase him down. On the throttle they go and initiating in. Good initiation there from Reese Tatterson, super high up on the bank, but Daniel matching him through it as they come down through that inside clip and into outer zone 2. Looking good so far from, look at that proximity from Daniel as the camera switches. Absolutely mental how close he was getting as Reese Tatterson transitions, and now again this push from Daniel almost mimicking the last run. What a battle between these two.
Yeah, this might be a tough one to call, but Reese super high up on the bank here in turn one. We'll take another look at it from the get-go, just all the way up there, and then gets even further, rubbing that bumper along that wall the whole way around. Daniel doing a good job in that chase position here, though, right along the pocket, maybe a little bit better proximity as Reese has a small, teeny tiny little bobble and angle there through outside zone 2 just before leaving it, and then a little bit better line from Reese there in that last and final turn. We'll go to the judges. Reese on the left, Daniel on the right. Tough one to call. I'm so glad I'm not a judge sometimes, and this is definitely one of those times as we wait on their decision.
I could definitely see this one going one more time.
Yeah, it could, but it's not. Reese Tatterson gets the win. Unanimous decision from all three of those judges. He moves on. We'll see him in the top 8, but fantastic job by Daniel Andreev.
Very good job indeed. And again, another option I could take. Yeah, we just like one more time battles here. But look, it's the same car on your screen. No, it's not. It is Alan Hines in the Pro Drift Academy S15, the head driver of their team, or the first driver, or the second. Anyways, Alan Hines in that lead position and opening his doors on track, which shouldn't happen. Come on now. Augusto Ferreira in that RTR Mustang. Here we go. A little bit of a squirrely getaway for Alan Hines. They initiate in. Augusto right there with him as he's high up on the bank. Augusto following him along as they transition down, cutting the blind big time. Was Augusto almost allowing room for that transition? Augusto is going to have to be aggressive here, all over the door of Alan Hines through outer zone 2 as they transition to the final half of this course through that last outside clipping point. Augusto pushing as hard as he can, but a little bit more grip out of that S15 through that final clipping point.
Yeah, Augusto applying the pressure in the Mustang in that chase position. Allen out front. We'll take another look here on the replay. Allen settling in nicely to this bank here, working that car even higher, walks it down very nicely. Augusto making a dive, and then maybe a little bit of contact there through that transition. So close. Augusto right there in the pocket of that S15. Smooth transition by both of them. Allen doing a fantastic job out front in that lead position, but Augusto applying the pressure.
Yeah, Augusto knows who he's up against. These two are, they've known each other for a while, so he knows the kind of skill and level that Alan Hines does bring, so he's got to bring that level up as well. So now back at the line, Augusto Ferreira in that lead position. Alan Hines ready to chase him down, unleashing all the American freedom. And initiating in that Mustang is Augusto Ferreira. Right behind him, though, Alan Hines trying to catch back up to the speed of Augusto Ferreira through this course as they come into outer zone 2. Looking good through outer zone 2, but now Alan Hines on the door, giving a little love tap there to Augusto as they left outer zone 2, transitioning now to the final 2 clipping points. Alan Hines getting back on the door of Augusto Ferreira and sticking it to him all the way across that line.
Yeah, this might be a tough one to call between these two, but Allen applying the pressure throughout this course here very smoothly. Augusto out front doing a fantastic job as he rubs his bumper along that wall before coming down off of it. Nice and tight to the inside clip. Leaves the outside just a little bit there, and then gets off throttle. We can't hear it in the replay, but really massages it and doesn't get a chance to really commit to outside zone 2. But good line there, a little bit on the inside, but Allen right there in that chase position as well. We'll leave it up to the judges. Alan Hines on the left, Augusto Ferreira on the right. Again, good battle between these two. And there it is, unanimous decision from those judges. Alan Hines does get the win, move on into the top 8, but fantastic job from Augusto putting on a show, switching to that Mustang and looking comfortable in it.
Yeah, Augusto's looking the best I've seen him in a while in that RTR Mustang, so it's great to see him out and really putting on a show from us. But now let's just talk about the top 8 quick before our other drivers load in here. Reese Tatterson and Alan Hines going up against each other. Could we see maybe Reese Patterson getting the win over Allen over Reese? Could it be maybe a team thing? They got to talk about it and go, well, what's better for the championship for the team? You know, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that one. And of course, Ryan Literal and Robert Kavinsky, that's going to be a great battle as well. So I'm really excited at how this sheet is filling out.
Absolutely. And some crazy battles coming up on the right hand side of the bracket as well.
There definitely is. With drivers, you know, starting us off in the second half with Zach O'Sullivan and Vladislav Ikulovic. I mean, two absolutely stunning drivers, and it'll be amazing to see who makes it through on that battle. Then Alexander Element and Darius Ostreka, two very strong competitors that will just put on a great show from us. And then Tikhon Pleski and Victor Alves. Victor Alves has been on a tear, and we know he can do well in a drift car. And Tikhon Pleski, maybe the robot's back. Maybe he's gotten all the bugs sorted. Maybe he ran a scan of malware bites and found what was going on. And could he be back? And then to finish things out for the top 16, Brandon Gardner and Ernestus Yakulovas. Brandon Gardner's been on a tear most of the day, and Ernestus has just been looking super smooth out there.
Yeah, some exciting stuff indeed ahead of us. All right, looks like drivers are ready at the line, waiting for judges to send them for the right-hand side of the top 16 bracket.
And at the line, they are at the top of your screen is going to be Zach O'Sullivan in that Sim Magic Racing Toyota Supra up against the fresh auto BMW of Vladislav Ikulovic. Initiating in is Zach O'Sullivan high up on the bank, but Vladislav coming at him quick and fast down on that bank, transitioning down into outer zone 2 along the bumper through those transitions as they come through. And ooh, a huge bobble from the chase driver and giving a punt there to the door of Zach O'Sullivan. That could be a big mistake here with another hit on the front end as they come through that final inside clip.
Yeah, let's take another look at it there. Really kind of seemed like Vladislav just sort of fell out of the boost, gripped up really hard there. Zach O'Sullivan super high up on the bank here on the replay out front, but Vladislav right there through these transitions doing a fantastic job. Falls back a little bit, has to reel him back in on a tighter line. Yeah, that's a tough one. A couple of bumps here and there, but they keep things clean. Really just a sacrifice in line from that chase position, and there they go across that finish line.
They sure do. And back around at the start gate, they are flipped around and ready for the second half of their battle to see who's going to take that next spot in the top 8. Vladislav Ikulovic in the fresh auto BMW in that lead lane. Sim Magic Racing, JZA80 of Zach O'Sullivan giving chase, initiating in. Look at that angle from that lead driver, but Zach ready to stake with them through the course as they transition into outer zone 2. Coming through outer zone 2, Zach putting on that pressure, staying on the door of Ikulovic. No contact there as they transition into that final outside clip and dive down for the finish. And look at Zach right along the door of Ikulovic.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here. Vladislav out front this time, being chased down by Zach O'Sullivan. And a good initiation from Vladislav here, high up on the bank. Zach reeling him in, walking it down, sacrificing a little bit of angle there through that inside clip. Is Zach in that chase position, but much better job here in outside zone 2 is Zach back there in that Supra. Vladislav super clean though out front in that lead position, goes a little bit wide there for the inside clip, and there's Zach right there in tow. We'll go to the judges. Zach on the left, Vladislav on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. And there it is, Chris, Carl, and Matt, all 3 judges. Zach O'Sullivan gets the win, moves on into the top 8, but fantastic job from Vladislav Yakulovich today.
Yeah, Yakulovich going out in the top 16, and Zach O'Sullivan able to take that win. Alexander Element now in your lead lane that you can see on screen in that 370Z, and Darius Ostreka ready to chase him down in that BMW. The lights go on, and this battle is underway here. The top 16 of round 5, the Virtual Drift Championships. Initiating in is Alexander Element, but right with them is Darius Ostreka, sticking right to the door through that bank, leaving no room on that transition as they almost touch bumpers transitioning into outer zone 2. Darius is putting on all kinds of pressure here to Alexander Element, who is no stranger to even winning here at the VDC, but Darius putting on all sorts of pressure onto him as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, fantastic job by both of these drivers here. Alexander Element out front in that lead position, settling in nice and high up on the bank, sacrificing a little bit of angle there, but really pours it on before leaving that bank, drops down off of it nicely. Darius Ostreka in that chase position though, right up on the bumpers, reels him in, leaves that room there for that transition across the middle section of the course, and then right back on it, right along that door before crossing that finish line.
Well, now ready for the second half of their battle. Darius Ostreka in that lead position with Alexander Element ready to chase him down. A good getaway from both drivers as they initiate into outer zone 1. A good initiation from Darius, but right with his Alexander Element staying on the door through most of outer zone 1, transitioning now into outer zone 2. Darius on a good lead line here, but look at that proximity from Alexander Element, basically riding his door through all of outer zone 2 as he transitions into that final outside clip. And look at that, a little mistake from the chase, almost hitting Darius as he comes through, but sticks it to the door all the way across that finish line.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Darius Ostreka out front here in this top 16 battle between these two. Second half with Darius out front, Alexander Element in that chase position. Alexander right there with Darius out front. Darius doing a really good job in that lead position though. The way he picks up throttle here for outside zone 2 and just stays on that white line that we can barely see. Alexander right there in chase, right along the bumper, applying the pressure, yeah, and a little nudge there down across that inside clip. And we'll go to the judges. Alexander Element on the left, Darius Ostreka on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. Again, still here in the top 16. Things are getting crazy. And we have a split decision here. Up to Carl, and there it is. Darius Ostreka gets the win. Chris and Carl both choose Darius. Matt chooses Alexander Element. That's going to do it. Darius will move on.
But Darius Ostreka there getting the win over Alexander Element, moving on into that top 8. And what a good drive from Darius. He has been on fire all day long. As we are waiting for our next battle to come to the line here, Tikhon Pileski versus Victor Alves. Tikhon Pileski pulling into your lead lane as we speak in that fresh auto S14. And right behind him in the S15 is Victor Alves. The lights go on and this battle is underway. Pileski with a bit of a slow start to get off lights there, but initiates in clean with Victor Alves way high up on that bank as well. Maybe not with the proximity, but matching that line good as they transition through that inside clip into outer zone 2. T-Con keeping it good into outer zone 2, but Victor Alves all over the door through outer zone 2 on T-Con Pileski as they transition and go to that final outside clip. A big surge there from Victor Alves in the chase that he had to give up that proximity to try and complete, and ends up behind T-Con as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, here we go with that replay here. T-Con Pileski out front, Victor Alves chasing him down. T-Con getting a really good start there and holds that gap all the way up until the end of the bank there. Victor doing a good job in that chase position to make that dive, and then right back onto the door here for outside zone 2. T-Con actually pouring on the angle there, leaving outside zone 2. Nice and smooth transition here. Goes a little bit far, but does a good job to get that car to drive back into that inside clip.
Definitely does, but back around, ready to start the second half of their battle. Victor Alves now in the lead lane. T-Con Pileski with his lights flashing, ready to chase him down. Light goes on and off they go, initiating in. Huge snapped angle for Victor Alves on the top end of that bank, leaving T-Con a little bit behind as they come down for the transition. And now transitioning into outer zone 2, T-Con almost not leaving enough room for it as T-Con starts to get the door of Victor Alves. Victor Alves having a bit of a ball there in that lead, but T-Con was not phased by it as they come into that final inside clip. Now T-Con's really putting on the pressure and keeping that fender on his door.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Victor Alves with an aggressive initiation and start gets a really good start on T-Con, but T-Con doing a good job to throw that car in, falls back, reeling him back in by the end of the bank there, leaving some room for that transition. Victor a little bit too far on the outside, and I think right there as well, just getting a little bit too far up. We see him go just a hair wide for that inside clip. Grabs that next outside zone though, and T-Con once again applying the pressure. Will go to the judges here. T-Con on the left, Victor on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. Tough battles here, and there it is. T-Con Pileski quickly gets the win. We'll see him later on the top 8, and we've got another battle at the line.
Yeah, they're just pulling up now quickly. Good job from T-Con Pileski and a great drive from Victor Alves today. He was on fire, really bringing the heat to T-Con. So now we move on to our next battle. Ernestus Yakulibis in that S14 up against Brandon Gardner in that NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z. This is our final battle of the top 16 today. The lights go on and off they go. Ernestus initiating in with a good initiation, super high up on that bank. Almost like a lack to get the angle there for the chase car Brandon Gardner as they transition now into outer zone 2. Making their way through outer zone 2. Good angle, good proximity from the chase driver as well as they transition to the final part of this course down to that inside clip. Brandon Gardner is able to try and get it on the door and just keep a nice, good proximity away from Ernestus.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Ernestus out front in his S14. Brandon Gardner chasing him down in that Nissan Z. Doing a good job there, sacrificing just a little bit of angle here and there throughout that bank, but right along that bumper in that chase position, making that transition as they work their way through outside zone 2. Nicely done for the inside clip. Last and final outside zone going a little bit wide there, has to drive back in. Brandon right there with him.
And here we are again back at the start line for our final battle of the top 16, the second half of it. Brandon Gardner out front, Ernestus Yakulibis ready to chase him down, initiating in. Look at that, Ernestus right with them on the door as they initiated in, sticking with them through the rest of outer zone 1, transitioning down to outer zone 2 now. Coming through, Ernestus is all over Brandon Gardner here. Look at the proximity of Ernestus as they transition now to the final outside clip and down to that inside. Ernestus keeping that pressure on and keeping that proximity all the way to the finish.
Yeah, good battle between these two. Here's Brandon Gardner out front in the second half of this replay here. Ernestus giving chase, and look at there, right along the door as they initiate. Brandon doing a good job out front though, filling that first outside zone up along that wall. as well as outside zone 2 right up on that white line. Hernandez giving him a couple of bumps here and there. Smooth transition, filling that last outside zone down to the inside clip. Right along the pocket, though, is Hernandez. We'll go to those judges. Brandon Gardner on the left, Hernandez on the right, or could we see him line up again here in the top 16? And no, it's going to be Hernandez. He gets the win, moves on into the top 8. And that's going to end Brandon's run today.
Oh, good job there from Hernandez. He's been on fire and really stuck it to the door there of Brandon on that run. So a good, well-earned victory.
Absolutely. And that was our last and final battle of the top 16. Here again, round 5, not round 6. We'll blame that on Dion. Saw Dion's fault. Wall Stadium, New Jersey. But crazy battles indeed. Ryan Littoral and Robert Kavinsky will move on and face each other in the upcoming top 8 here in just a few moments. Reese Tatterson and Alan Hines, teammates facing off against each other. Zach O'Sullivan and Darius Ostraka on the other side of the bracket will go against each other as well. Tikon Pileski and Hernandez on a run today into the top 8. He's got a big battle in front of him.
Yeah, and we're starting to get to the closing stages of this event, and it's still at the point where you have no idea what's coming. I mean, looking at all the battles ahead, I'm like, oh, normally I'm pretty good at judging, but not this time. I'm in the dark here just as much as all you wonderful fans that are watching along. We thank you for being here on a wonderful Saturday.
Absolutely, and it looks like our drivers are coming up to the line.
They sure are. We're ready to get underway with our first battle of the top 8. In your lead position is going to be Robert Kavinsky, our current points leader, up against FD's own Power Stomp S15, Ryan Littoral in the chase lane. The light goes on and this battle is underway. A good start here from Robert. Ryan Littoral, though, initiating in right behind him as they come through that bank section. A little bit of proximity loss there from Ryan Littoral to Robert as they transition into outer zone 2. Maybe a little touch there on the bumper from Ryan Littoral, but Ryan's starting to close that gap onto Robert as they come through that inside clip. Taking out the cones a little bit was the chase driver as they come through that last outside clip. Look at the pressure from Ryan, pushing and shoving Robert Kavinsky through that finish line.
Wow, let's take another look here. Robert out front in that lead position. Ryan Littoral giving chase here in the top 8. Settling in nicely as Robert, though. Fantastic lead line through turn 1, that bank. And then snappy transition, almost over rotating there, but just nails that white line. Ryan Littoral is now back into the fight, but a little bit on the inside there, waiting on that transition, and then works back out a little. He's, third hash on that inside clip, so quite a bit to the outside there in that chase position, and we'll switch him around.
And switch him around, we will do. Is back at the start line. Ryan Littoral is in that lead position. Robert Kavinsky's ready to chase him down. The light goes on in the second half of this top 8 battle is underway, and lighting up the tires all the way from the line. It was Ryan Littoral super high on the bank, but Robert Kavinsky has stuck to his door all through outer zone 1, through that transition into outer zone 2 now. Coming through the precision driving from the chase driver of Robert Kavinsky is immense, and the pressure is on as Ryan Littoral gets a bit of a gap there off of that transition, but now Robert manages to reel him back in and get back on the door, finish out this run.
Yeah, we'll take another look here. Ryan Littoral out front this time in the second half of this top 8 battle. Robert giving chase and doing a fantastic job doing so right along the door of Ryan Littoral out front. Drops down with him nicely, nice and smooth. And here we see Ryan come off that outside quite a bit. Works it back out to the outside though, and then down for the inside clip. Robert a little bit on the inside, similar to Ryan. And then Ryan again going wide there in that section of the course. Grabs that second hash of the inside clip. And we'll go to the judges. Ryan Literal on the left, Robert on the right. Winner moves on to the final four, and there it is. Robert gets the win, and we'll see him in just a little bit. Fantastic run from Ryan Literal though today.
Yeah, Ryan Literal really starting to come to his own here in the virtual land of drifting. It's great to see him around, but Robert Kavinsky, he's going to continue his championship fight as we move over to our next battle. No, you are not seeing double. Both the Pro Drift Academy drivers have met each other in the top 8. In the lead lane with the green outline on his side, on his bumpers and side skirts, is Alan Hines in the Pro Drift Academy S15. And behind him with the blue lines is Reese Tatterson as they initiate in and come through. And look at that, Reese Tatterson getting on the door, coming down off of that outer zone 1, but cutting the inside a bit was the lead driver of Alan Hines through the inside clip, coming through outer zone 2. Reese Tatterson is all over the door of Alan Hines. Look at this, they're just mimicking each other as they come through that transition into that last outside zone and finish almost door to door with each other.
Yeah, fantastic start to this battle between these teammates here. Alan Hines out front to start things off and does a fantastic job doing so. Super high up onto the bank, hanging the wing off on the other side. Nice and smooth transition there, leaves the outside just a little bit there, but works it back out there. Reese applying the pressure in that chase position right along the bumper through the transition as well. And then back down to the inside clip. Fantastic job by both of these guys.
We still have one more half of this battle, and part of me wants a one more time of this battle, but we'll see how it goes. Reese Tatterson now with those blue spokes in your lead position. Alan Hines ready to chase him down. Teammate versus teammate initiating in on the high end of the bank there. A little higher is Alan Hines, though, as they transition down to that inside clip. Alan taking out that inside clip as they transition into outer zone 2. And look at that, Alan starting to put on the pressure now to Reese Tatterson as he's a little deeper into outer zone 2. Transitioning to that final outside clip and down into the inside. A big tap there from Alan Hines into the back of Reese Tatterson before they finish out their run.
What a tough one to call here as we take a look at the second half of the battle with Reese out front this time, throwing that car in and looking good doing so. Super high up on the bank, maybe not quite as high as Alan, but Alan not quite the same proximity until outside zone 2 here. He really gets into the pocket, stays with Reese, drops back a little bit, but just enough to let that transition happen, and then right back into the pocket of his teammate's door. And there they go across that finish line. We'll go to the judges. Reese on the left, Alan Hines on the right. Super close battle. Or could we see him line up? No, we're not going to see him line up against each other again. It's going to be Alan Hines getting the win and moving on into the final four over his teammate Reese Tatterson.
Oh, Alan Hines winning over Reese Tatterson, but what an amazing drive from those two. Great to see them. I know they're lovely teammates with each other, so it must be nice to be able to finally meet each other in competition and go, all right, gloves off. Let's see who can win this. As we move on to our next battle here of the top 8, Zach O'Sullivan in Magic Racing's own Toyota Supra up against Darius Ostraka in that chase position. The light goes on and off they go. Initiating in is Zach O'Sullivan. Darius, though, with an aggressive initiation to stick right on the door of Zach O'Sullivan through outer zone 1. Not leaving almost enough room for that transition, though, as they come into outer zone 2 and start laying on the pressure. Holy, look how close Darius was to Zach around outer zone 2 as they transition into that final outside clip. A little bit of a gap there, but a surge from Darius hitting the front end of Zach O'Sullivan before the finish.
Yeah, interesting here. Let's take another look, and I think you're right there pointing out the contact in that first transition here. Zach doing a good job out front, coming down off the bank, and yep, just a tiny little tap there, maybe stopping Zach from getting to the angle that he wanted, but they continue on anyway. Really doesn't affect the run all that much at all. Darius right there again on the bumper, and then a little bit on the inside gives him a tap there, pushing Zach a little bit to the outside, but there they go across that finish line.
Back around at the start gate, Darius Ostrika in that lead position, and Zach O'Sullivan ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off they go. Good getaway. Lots to wheel spin, though, from Zach O'Sullivan behind. Initiating in is Darius Ostrika. Zach right up there with him, though. Gets on the door before the end of Outer Zone 1. Leaves room for the transition. And now transitioning into Outer Zone 2. Trying to get on the door, and he is on the door of Darius Ostrika. Leaving some room for the next transition as they come into that final outside zone. And then dive down into that inside clip. Zach keeping right along the door of Darius Ostrika. What a battle.
Yeah, really good battle indeed. We'll take another look at the second half here. Darius does get out to a really good start here, but Zach closes the gap very quickly and matches the angle throughout that bank turn. And here's that transition. And we see Darius leave the outside quite a bit there in outside zone 2. He works back out there, but then picks up a ton of grip here. Not quite the right line there coming into the last and final outside zone. And then really has to drive in for that inside clip. So very interesting there. We'll go to the judges. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, Darius Ostrika on the right, winner. We'll move on into the final four here. Zach getting one judge, two judges, three judges. He gets the win. We'll see him in the final four, but fantastic run from Darius Ostrika.
Darius Ostrika coming out swinging today and showing why he's here in the VDC as we move into our final battle of the top 8 before we get into the finals. We're almost there. Tikon Pileski in the Fresh Auto S14 in your lead lane, and Ernestus Yakulibis in his S14 in that chase position. The light goes on, and this run is underway. Beating down the straight and initiating in. Tikon with a good initiation, but Ernestus right there with them. Ernestus is on a tear today as he transitions down into Outer Zone 2. Sticking right to the door of Tikon Pileski, matching that angle, sticking right with him. No contact made. Super close between these two as they transition into that final outer zone and down. Oh, a little bit of contact there, but they keep it together as it almost looks like Ernestus pushes him across that finish line.
Yeah, he really did there as we take another look here. Tikon Pileski up front, but Ernestus putting up a fight. Look at the Tikon-esque initiation in that chase position. It does end up paying off. He settled in a little bit low, but keeps things going, ends up matching the angle and line from Tikon. Tikon leaving the outside just a little bit there in outside zone 2. And then Ernestus a little bit on the inside of that inside clip, sacrificing a little bit of line to stay with Tikon. But does it pay off?
Well, we will find out in the second half of this battle with Ernestus now in the lead lane and the Fresh Auto S14 of Tikon Pileski chasing him down. It is make it or break it now for Ernestus. He's got to lay it all on the line, initiating in with a good initiation, but Tikon, the robot, right there with them as they transition through that inside clip. Lots of angle from Ernestus in Outer Zone 2, and right there, Tikon just sitting right with him. Maybe not as close as Ernestus, a little bit from the chase as we transition into that final outside zone. Look at the proximity now from Tikon. Tikon gives him a little touch and another little touch as they come across the line.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Ernestus out front in the Urta S14 being chased down by Tikon's S14. And there they go into turn 1. Big bank all the way up onto the wall. Nice and smooth and snappy transition into outside zone 2. Really about as deep as you could be. Tikon almost over rotating, but hangs on to it, hangs on to the proximity as well. Fills that last and final outside zone, and just a fantastic line out front. But Tikon right there applying the pressure. A close battle between these two indeed. We'll go to the judges. Tikon Pileski on the left, Ernestus on the right. And there it is. Tikon Pileski gets the win. moves on into the final four over Ernestas, but Ernestas putting up a fight today.
Ernestas, I don't know if he's just been sitting there watching all of T-Con's videos, because he absolutely nailed that initiation. And I think that's something that needs to be taken away, and Ernestas needs to hear by the end of it, is that was absolutely fantastic to watch. And keep it up, and we'll see you in round 6. So now, our finals. We're here, everybody. All 383 plus watching us now for round 5 of the Virtual Drift Championships. Our first battle of the finals. Robert Kavinsky up against Alan Hines. Alan Hines in that lead lane. Robert Kavinsky ready to chase him down as they initiate into outer zone 1. Robert Kavinsky really going in on Alan Hines, almost going a little higher on the bank than him as they transition through that inside clip. Now into outer zone 2. Robert is all over the door of Alan Hines without making contact as they come through that inside clip without touching cones into that final outside zone. Look at that, or just Robert just dancing with that throttle, trying not to hit Alan as they come through and cross the line.
Yeah, really good start to the top 4 here. So we take another look. Alan Hines out front, initiating in nicely here. Super high up onto the bank, grabbing a piece of the wall maybe, but Robert right there in chase, right along the bumper through these transitions and then into the pocket of that door of that S15. Looking good here as both of them nice and smooth into the last and final outside zone, down to the inside clip, getting a little nudge from Robert. Fantastic job.
Well, and here we go for the second half of this final battle to see who will go into the finals and who goes into the third place matchup. Robert Kavinsky in your lead lane, Pro Drift Academy own Alan Hines in the chase, initiating in here at Wall Stadium. Nice and high up on the bank is Robert, and a huge upset for Alan Hines, who almost loses drift and then catches it back as they transition here into outer zone 2. Coming through it now, Alan Hines not as close as Robert was in that chase position as they transition to that final outer zone and down into the inside clip. Alan Hines now putting on that pressure, giving him a little touch with the wheel as they cross that finish line.
Wow, interesting turn of events here. We'll make sure we really pay attention to what happened here. Robert throws it in super high on the bank. He does have quite a bit of angle and a little bit of a bobble, but I'm not sure if that's enough to really cause that mistake in the chase from Alan. Alan drops super far down off the bank. It is a tough one, but they continue on with a fantastic battle. Pulling a little bit of angle out there is Robert, a little bit too far on the inside. But again, just fantastic from both of these. We'll go to the judges. Robert on the left, Alan on the right. Winner goes to the finals here. And there it is. So Alan is going to get the win and move on into the finals there. Yeah, overhearing Chris explain it to the drivers there. So it seems there's was a little bit of contact between the two on initiation, I believe. There's quite the shimmy shake. I think the contact, maybe we can get Chris down in here to maybe explain what they saw.
Yeah, so what happened there, what we saw was, if you look at the, unknowingly it's on another camera switch, but as the camera switches on the first turn, you can see Robert has a big reduction in his angle because he's just tapped the wall, and then when he taps the wall he loses a load of momentum, obviously catches it and doesn't go up into the bank. Well done. But that's what causes Alan to have to back off and grab lots of foot brake and a bit of handbrake to slow down to not cause the contact. So for us, it's all down to the fact that Robert makes the mistake in lead, touching the wall, slowing up outside of the decel zone, obviously, which then means Alan has to do evasive maneuvers to not cause contact. At that point, it's heavy advantage to Alan, and then we have the rest of the run taking place where Alan gets right back into the battle and is really aggressive and present through the whole run in the chase. It's hard to see. I appreciate that from the camera. But this is one of those things that, as no doubt some people have been alluding to, including Craig and others in the chat, we are looking at potentially bringing in some new things for the next season that will help with our replay cameras to be even clearer so we can show stuff like this better.
Absolutely. So there you have it from head judge Chris Witowski, and our next battle is at the line, ready to go.
They are, and this is the next battle in our top 4. Zach O'Sullivan in the Magic Racing at JZ-A80 Supra up against the Fresh Auto S14 of Tikon Pileski, who will go on to see Alan Hines in the finals, and who will go to face Robert Kavinsky in the 3rd place matchup. The light goes on, and this battle is underway. Initiating in is Zach O'Sullivan, nice and high up on the bank. Sorry, not Reese. Tikon Pileski all over him. A big tap to the wall there from Zach as they come down off that bank in transition, but a huge hit from Tikon into that, and another hit from Tikon through outer zone 2 as they transition now into that final outer zone and down into that inside zone. Tikon keeping it right on the edge, just giving a few more nudges before finishing out this run.
Yeah, let's take another look here. A tough battle. Zach O'Sullivan out front. Tikon Pileski giving chase. Tikon entering in early, but it pays off. Look at there, right along the door of Zach O'Sullivan. But Zach super high up onto the bank. Settles in nicely with a nudge there from Tikon in that chase. And once more, maybe Tikon being a little bit too aggressive here in that chase position. Zach, very smooth transition through the middle of the course, but does end up a little bit on the inside, and there they go across that finish line.
Yeah, seeing the replay for myself, it looks like a little bit of contact between Tikon to Zach on the first outer zone, but they're here for the second half of their battle, and they're ready to go. Fresh Auto S14 of Tikon Pileski in that lead lane, chasing him down. Sim Magic Racing own Zach O'Sullivan. The lights go on and off they go. Zach trying to stick right beside Tikon as they initiate in. Up through outer zone 1. Zach keeping a good proximity through outer zone 1 as they transition into the inside clip and into outer zone 2. Lots of e-brake there from Tikon, but makes it work as Zach starts to lose a little bit of ground, but gains it back on the transition here. Coming into that inside clip, Zach trying to get up and push onto the door of Tikon. Doesn't really have the proximity, but keeps it mimicked throughout the whole run.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here. Tikon out front in the second half of this top 4 battle between these two. Zach O'Sullivan giving chase and throwing it in onto the door, sacrificing a little bit of line there. Could have been higher up onto the bank, falls back a little bit for inside clip, but then right back onto the door of Tikon in outside zone 2. Again, sacrificing a little bit of line there in that chase position, but then right up on the bumper. And the line is a little off there from Tikon in that lead position, going a little bit too far wide for too long. Really has to dig in for that grip and get the car to drive forward there in that section of the course. So we'll go to the judges. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, Tikon Pileski on the right. Winner goes on to the finals. And there it is. Zach O'Sullivan gets the win over Tikon Pileski. But Tikon's not done. He's got a 3rd place battle left to go.
What even is today? We know what it is. It's round 5 Virtual Drift Championship. Wow. So Zach O'Sullivan and Alan Hines in the finals. But first, we have to decide who is taking home 3rd place. Is it going to be Robert Kavinsky in his 370Z, or will it be Tikon Pileski in the Fresh Auto S14? So maybe Tikon hasn't worked out all the bugs yet. He might need to do another virus scan. Maybe there's something else going on there. But we may see him on the podium yet. In the lead lane, Tikon Pileski. In the chase, Robert Kavinsky, ready to go for the 3rd place battle. The light starts to blink, and on it goes. The 3rd place battle is underway as they start making their way to initiation. Initiating in. Look at Robert right there with Tikon. T-Con adding a lot of angle there near the end of the outer zone 1 as they transition into outer zone 2. Robert Kavinsky sticking right with T-Con and not moving off of that door as they come through the transition along the bumpers as they come down into that final inside clip, and Robert just gives them a little tap there at the end.
Yeah, what a third place battle here as we take another look at the first half of it. T-Con Pileski out front, Robert giving chase, and T-Con settling in a little bit shallow and works the car back up to the top there. Robert almost not giving enough room for that transition right up along the door though in outside zone 2. T-Con continuing on a very nice lead line here, filling that last and final outside zone much cleaner there through that section of the course. There they go across the line, fighting for that third position.
And back at the start line, flipped around TX team 370Z of Robert Kavinsky in that lead position. Fresh Auto S14 of T-Con Pileski in the chase. The light goes on in the second half of this third place battle is underway. Who's taking home the podium? Initiating in Robert Kavinsky. Right with them though is T-Con Pileski. Could we see T-Con's next podium here in this round, or will Robert take another as they come through outer zone 2? Look at that proximity from T-Con right into the door of Robert without making contact as they transition in this next inside clip. A little bit of a touch there from T-Con Pileski as they come across the line door to door.
Yeah, here we go. Second half of the battle here on the replay. Robert out front in that 370Z JX team being chased down by T-Con Pileski and doing a good job doing so as well. Leaves quite a bit of room there for that first transition off the bank, but then reels him back in for outside zone 2. Very similar to Robert's chase run. Robert doing a good job out front though, filling this next outside zone super deep. Angles up, doesn't quite get down to the inside clip. T-Con's right there with him. Do we have a winner for third place? Robert on the left, T-Con Pileski on the right. Again, winner takes home third place today in that last podium position. Or are we gonna see him line back up? Judges taking their time here. Couple of one more times in the chat. Well, it looks like we might have a decision. Chris goes left. Carl chooses one more time. Matt chooses one more time. We're lining them back up for a second time.
One more time for the third place battle. Are we at the finals? I think we're at the finals.
I mean, I guess
this whole
technically
event has felt like the finals. As we wait for them just to pull back up to the line. Oh, wow. Unreal. One more time between these two, which I think is very good. And I think we're going to see an all-out dogfight as Robert needs these championship points. He is at the top, and missing out on the finals is a big hit. So he's going to want this. And T-Con, he's going to want to be on the podium again. So he's going to want this. This is going to be all-out war between these two. T-Con Pileski in your lead lane. Robert Kavinsky ready to chase him down. The light goes on, and off they go. Initiating in for their one more time battle. T-Con high up on the bank. Robert even higher on the bank as they come down and transition into that first inside clip. Now into outer zone 2. T-Con on the power, but Robert right there on the wheel to wheel as they come through outer zone 2, leaving just enough room for the transition, maybe touching bumpers as they come through that next outer zone and into the inside clip. Robert just right there on the door the whole way around.
Yes, he was, but T-Con put down a killer lead run as well. We'll take another look at it. T-Con out front. Robert giving chase. A little gap there established before initiation, but Robert reeling him back in. Both super high up on the bank. Snappy transition into outside zone 2. T-Con could be a little bit deeper there here in this zone again. Robert right there in the pocket though, right along the bumper for the transition. T-Con going a bit wide once more and really has to drive that car in, but does a good job doing so to still pick up that inside clip.
Well, here we go for the second half of the one more time battle for the third place spot. Robert Kavinsky in that lead position. T-Con Pleski ready to chase him down. Initiating into outer zone 1, and lots of angle thrown from T-Con Pleski. He had to throw out of it a little bit. Robert touches the wall and comes down the bank as they transition into outer zone 2. T-Con trying to keep that proximity and keeping it right there with Robert as they come through that next inside spin into the final outer zone. Now down into that inside. A little tap there from T-Con through that inside clip, and they finish out door to door.
Yeah, here we go with that replay here. Second half of the one more time battle for third place. And look at there. T-Con throwing that car in, but it does end him up super low on the bank. And then Robert makes a tiny mistake getting into the wall just a little bit, but super deep into outside zone 2 is Robert, and T-Con right there in the pocket, just like Robert's chase. Robert going a little bit wide here, very similar to T-Con, but doesn't quite dig in for the inside clip. And they go across that finish line. We go to the judges again between these two. Robert Kavinsky on the left, T-Con Pileski on the right. Winner takes home third place. And here it is. Robert gets the win, taking home third place today and a podium finish.
Wow. Congratulations to Robert for that podium finish. Taking home third place and beating the robot T-Con Pileski, who looks to be back on form. As we have our final battle here, round 5, the Virtual Drift Championships at Wall Stadium, lined up and ready to go. Thanks to all of our partners: Sim Magic Grip Royal, Next Level Racing, Tire Stacks, Yoka Design, Zach O'Sullivan out front in the Sim Magic JZA 80, and right behind him is the Drift Academy, Pro Drift Academy's S15, Alan Hines on the bumper through that transition as they come into outer zone 2. Now coming through outer zone 2, Alan Hines pushing, gives Zach a tap though, but Zach stays in it as they transition now into the next outer zone and down to the inside clip. Look at Alan just keeping that car directly on the door of Zach O'Sullivan.
Yeah, he sure did. We'll take another look at it here. Zach O'Sullivan out front. Nice initiation. Alan Hines right there up at the top of the bank though with Zach O'Sullivan, and right along the bumper through that first transition and then reels him back in. Zach could be just a tiny bit deeper there in that zone. Gets a little nudge from Alan. They grab that inside clip. Alan sacrificed a little bit of line, but so is Zach out front, but nicely done with the inside clip. And we'll switch them around.
Switch them around indeed. This could be the final battle here of round 5 as the second half of this battle gets underway. Pro Drift Academy, S15, Alan Hines in the lead. Sim Magic Racing, Zach O'Sullivan chasing him down through the bank. They go. Look how high they both are through the bank as they drop down to that inside clip. Now transitioning in outer zone 2. Zach getting that proximity, getting the wheel on the door as they come through that inside clip, transitioning now to the final outside zone. Zach making that push and touching the front end of Alan Hines, but it was just a slight tap, and Alan Hines did the same thing to him on the last run. So we'll see how the judges play this one out.
Yeah, it's a tough one indeed. Zach's car just picking up grip out of nowhere as we take another look at it. Look at there, Alan just super high up onto the bank. Zach took him a second to get him up there, but there he is along the bumper through those transitions into the pocket at Alan's door there. Nicely done with the inside clip. Last and final outside zone, and there, yeah, just picked up some grip. There they go across that finish line. Tough one to call between these two. Alan Hines on the left, Zach O'Sullivan on the right. Winner takes home the overall win here, round 5 at Wall Stadium. Both are getting a podium today, or will we line them up again?
One more time between these two, it's a death sentence.
A little, it seems split in the chat as well. We're gonna have one more times here in the third place and the finals. Yeah, a couple people saying Alan slowed in that last part of the course. Was it a little bit too much angle?
Oh man.
Yeah, the anticipation. Oh, we've got one decision from Chris. Zach, and look at their unanimous decision. Zach O'Sullivan gets the win for round 5, Wall Stadium, New Jersey. What an event today. Well done by Alan Hines as well. Well done by all of these drivers today. Just a fantastic event.
Zach O'Sullivan. Wow, what a way to end things out. Unreal battle between these two. And we always know there's a bit of a crutch match between the two. But great to see it in the finals. And I'm at a loss for words.
Absolutely. Again, just a fantastic event once more here at Wall Stadium. And again, this is about to be public as well, but it looks like we have our 3-man coming up here at the line. We're gonna get a 4-man this time. Zach O'Sullivan leading the train. Look at there, all 4 of them super high up on the bank. Bumper to bumper coming down, getting a little messy, but they got it back together, filling the outside zone too. Continuing on, Zach flexing on him. Oh no, Alan rotates. And there they go, across that finish line. I think Zach gets an automatic 0 for it anyway, you know?
Not championship over. Good night, everybody. No.
Oh no. Someone's thumbs just got murdered.
What?
Oh no.
Okay, you saw
the
that
camera
too.
change was the camera change was too good.
This is
We'll
the
take a
stress
look
reliever.
at the bracket.
Oh man, what an amazing event, and we just want to thank all of you for sticking with us from qualifying all the way through the top 32 battles and just being here and being a part of us. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any time that we go live. Join our Discord if you want to get in with some of the action that goes on in there. Like us over on Facebook and Instagram as well for additional updates and all the content that comes out. Those are the best ways to get us and hang out with us.
Absolutely. Make sure you all go check out Joko Design on Instagram and Facebook as well. Give him a follow. The release of the track will be through him. As you see on the sign here, he Scratch made this track a long time ago for free for the championship for us to use, and we have greatly appreciated it. This version of the track is absolutely astounding, and it's not even complete yet. Not this one that we use today. Jonathan is in the middle of completing the public version that will come out soon. And man, does it look good. I mean, it already looks fantastic. And Jonathan, just completing it all. If we'll, you know what, we'll back up.
Yeah, definitely. And
Give
then
'em a
again,
little
another.
preview.
Yeah. And then we'll also give another shout out to all of our sponsors here at the Virtual Drift Championship: Sim Magic Racing, Next Level Racing, Grip Royal, Tire Stacks, and Joka Design.
Absolutely. As you can see, that the outside hasn't been completed yet. We're missing the little go-kart track over here. But again, just beautifully done from Joka. He always does a fantastic job. Stirrup, he was behind the update to our newest version of Stirrup. OSW out there just helps us out tremendously with the track objects and everything. And as you pointed out, our other sponsors as well, Sim Magic. Fantastic line of products. If you're looking for a direct drive and affordable, check out Sim Magic. Link is in the description. And Next Level Racing as well. Grip Royal, fantastic steering wheels out of a small company out in Memphis, Tennessee. And Tire Stacks, tirestacks.com. All of them are in our description. Go check them out. And thank you for tuning in today. Again, just an amazing event. It was so much fun being here today and experiencing the skill once more with these drivers.
And how long till our next event, Craig? I think we're only 2
So
weeks away,
we actually have a date change. The drivers have been notified of it already. We'll make a formal announcement soon. But yeah, just 2 weeks away. April 29th is going to be the final round now. So we're going to be announcing that next track very, very shortly. I'm so excited about that one. Brand new layout to the series. And it's going to be an absolute barn burner. So tune in 2 weeks, and we'll see everyone back.